What is a record, sports or otherwise, that will likely never be broken? Oh, I know this one. When I was a kid, we had a Guinness Book of Records lying around that we liked to browse in while bored. There was this one guy in it who held a record for most bikes eaten. No, you did read that right. He ground up a bike and slowly consumed it over I don't know how long a time. The record was accompanied by a note that no further records of bike eating would be accepted, as it was deemed too dangerous. The longest professional tennis match of all time, John Isner vs Nicholas Mahut at Wimbledon 2010. It lasted 11 hours 5 minutes, spanning 3 days of play, with a final score of 6-4, 3-6, 6-7, 7-6, 70-68. It was already nearly twice as long as the previous record holder. The reason it will likely never be broken is that every professional tournament except for one, Roland Garros, now has tiebreaker rules that limit the number of games that can be played in final sets. Although it's hypothetically possible at RG, clay court tennis is not at all conducive to the serve and volley style of play that led to the insanely long fifth set of Isner Mahut. The current record for the Cannonball Run, a drive from New York to LA, is about 25.5 hours. It was set in May of 2020, and the drivers were able to make use of the lack of traffic due to the pandemic to break the record. Barring another similar world-changing event, traffic conditions will probably never be what they were when that record was set. Glenn Hall played 502 consecutive games as an NHL goalie. Zero chance that will ever be broken. Goalies these days rarely play more than 3/4 of an 82-game season, let alone numerous seasons without a night off. Also, George Vezina's 15 seasons straight of starts, more seasons than Hall but shorter seasons, so Hall holds GP, only ending when he was literally dying. They forced him to leave when he was coughing blood at intermission. He was diagnosed with TB and he died months later. Alexander Karelin, Greco-Roman wrestler. 887 wins to 2 losses. Entered 9 world championships and never lost a bout in them. Imagine being one of the 2 guys who gets to say he beat him though. I don't know that passed away applies if you die in a rocket boat accident. Surprised no one mentioned the unlimited water speed record. The current unlimited record is 511.11 kilometers per hour, 317.59 miles per hour, achieved by Australian Ken Warby in the Spirit of Australia in 1978. It hasn't been broken to this day due to how dangerous it is to go at those sort of speeds on the surface. And plenty of people have passed away trying. Here's the wiki article for the boat, which is kinda interesting. Cy Young pitched 749 complete games in his career. The current active pitcher with the most complete games in his career is Adam Wainwright, who has pitched for 17 years and has 27 complete games total. Pitchers just don't pitch the whole game anymore, and Young's record will never come close to being touched. Edit. To put Young's record in further perspective relative to modern-day pitchers, I looked up career complete game stats for all current MLB pitchers, and there are 124 pitchers total who have at least one complete game in their career, for a total of 505 collectively, 244 less than Cy Young alone pitched in his career. The Voyager Golden Record is now in deep space, and is extremely unlikely to ever come across anything which could break it before the end of humanity. Voyager, in case it's ever encountered by extraterrestrials, is carrying photos of life on Earth, greetings in 55 languages and a collection of music from Gregorian chants to Chuck Berry, including Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground by 20s bluesman Blind Willie Johnson, whose stepmother blinded him when he was 7 by throwing lye in his eyes after his father had beat her for being with another man. He died, penniless, of pneumonia after sleeping bundled in wet newspapers in the ruins of his house that burned down. But his music just left the solar system. Josh Lyman. John Isner hit 113 aces in his 70-68 match at Wimbledon, played over 3 days. That record will never be broken because Wimbledon changed their rules so they can't play that many games ever again. The Guardian's game-by-game report of that game remains the pinnacle of live sports reporting, just slowly losing their damned mind over the course of 3 days. Wayne Gretzky's career points. For those that aren't aware, the point stat in hockey is a combination of goals scored and assists. Gretzky had 894 career goals and 1963 assists. If you took away every goal he ever scored himself, he would still hold the record for most points. The Gretzky brothers hold the record for the most combined career points for a pair of siblings. Brent Gretzky has 4 career points, Wayne has 2857. The 6 Sutter brothers have 2,936 points combined, and the pair that is the closest to the Gretzkys are the Sedins that recently hit the 2107 mark, while the Stastny trio earned 2,169 points. Wayne Gretzky is called the Great One for a reason. There has never been or ever will be a better hockey player, and it's not even close. In fact, the second player in career points is Jaromir Jagr with 1921 points. Hans hires DNQ, DNF and DSQ in one F1 race. Did not qualify, did not finish and disqualified. He did not qualify because he was too slow, started anyway by sneaking his car in. Only when his gearbox failed after 10 laps was it realized that Hire should not have been competing, whereupon he was disqualified. Wade Boggs drank 64 beers on a domestic flight. R.I.P. Wade Boggs. Andre the Giant drank every bottle of vodka on a 747, that's gotta be close. He also holds the record for most beers consumed in a single setting ever at 152. Passed out in the lobby, so they just threw a sheet over him and set up cones. Ricky Henderson's all-time stolen base record. The number 2 guy on the list, Lou Brock, only has about 2/3 as many stolen bases as Henderson, 1406 versus 938. Not only that, but the active leader, D. Gordon, is 1,000 shy of Henderson. Max Verstappen being the youngest F1 driver to hit the grid, at age 17. He is the reason why there's now a minimum age requirement for F1 and their license.